Let's go live to Caracas to follow up the hearings that are being held by the Supreme Court of Justice. As we can see on our screen, now is the moment for another candidate, another former candidate, and leaders of their respective political party to come forward before the Supreme Court of Justice to present the information that they have, all the documents and records which have been requested by the Supreme Court of Justice to bring forth all this information as part of the investigations being carried out into the July 28th elections, an investigation that was launched following President-elect Nicolás Maduro's filing an appeal of protection last week before this same court to continue giving legitimacy to prove that there were no wrongdoings during the electoral process. In this case, this is the hearing of Jose Luis. This is the person we have on our screen, this moment for his hearing. Throughout the whole day, different personalities, different former candidates and heads of political organizations that took part in the electoral process of July 28th will be coming here before the Supreme Court of Justice to present all the information that is required of them as part of the investigations being carried out by the Supreme Court of Justice. All this in the context of destabilizing actions that have been led by the far right to disregard the electoral results, to disregard the popular will of the Venezuelan people that in its majority voted for citizen Nicolás Maduro to be re-elected as president of the nation for the term 2025-2031. So this is, we have in the attendance to the hearing of Jose Simón Calzadilla before the Supreme Court of Justice to present the information and the documents that were required by the President of the Supreme Court of Justice, who earlier this week called on all the participants in the elections to bring forth all the reports and to come and answer the questions as part of these investigations into the July 28th elections being carried out by the highest court of the Bolivarian nation. So this is the second hearing being held throughout the day. The first one we saw it earlier on our screen. This is the second hearing being held of today. There's a schedule, different members are going to be taking part throughout the day in these hearings as they present their allegations and the information requested by the Supreme Court of Justice as they continue the investigations into the July 28th election following President Maduro's appeal of protection last week. All this in the context of far-right opposition figures as Edmundo González and María Corina Machado that have led violent protests to disregard the electoral results and disregard the will of the Venezuelan people that in a majority voted for Nicolás Maduro to be the next president, the re-elected president of the Bolivarian nation for the term 2025-2031. So as in the first hearing, we're waiting for the magistrates of the Supreme Court to come to the room and start listening to the allegations, and in this case the candidate to present is the document Jose Luis, to present all the required document that was required of him to bring forth before the Supreme Court of Justice. All this comes in the context, as we were saying, of the electoral results that following the announcement that President Nicolás Maduro had been re-elected, certain sectors of the far-right opposition began to lead, to instigate destabilizing actions and to incite to violence certain sectors, to disregard the electoral results and to bring about a change in government through violence. supported by international actors, mainly from far-right allies coming from the States, and the use of paramilitary groups that have been named as comanditos to lead all these criminal actions. The, the Attorney General's office is also conducting the pertinent investigation into all these criminal actions that have been carried out throughout the country. Last reports there were over 2,000 people arrested involved in these violent actions that have left the death of two Chavista supporters, one of them an elderly man over 60 years old, and also from the Bolivarian National Forces, also two people lost their life in defense of the peace and tranquility of the Venezuelan people. These hearings and this investigation also come in the context that we're seeing the images of the President of the Supreme Court of Justice entering the room as the hearing of Jose Luis Cartaya, the General Coordinator of the Democratic Unity Table, the opposition, one of the opposition is about to begin. The President is ringing the bell and the hearing is just about to begin, and where the Jose Luis Cartaya will start presenting all the required information of him and to bring forth all the records regarding the July 28th election. This is what is happening right now live in Caracas. The hearings continue in the investigation into the July 28th election, the investigation being carried out by the Supreme Court of Justice as the second candidate, the second former leader in this case of the General Coordinator of the Unitary Table for Democracy, one of the opposition parties, opposition coalition. His hearing is about to begin as they present his allegations and everything that has to do with the July 28th elections on how it's developed, on how it was developed. All this is part of the investigation of the Supreme Court of Justice following the appeal of protection presented by President Nicolas Maduro last week.